Welcome to Trade Talk Today, your daily insight. This show is brought to you by
Hirth Engines.
And indeed, welcome to Trade Talk Today and welcome to day one of the Exponential Europe. It is here where the people, the experts are meeting, the lawmakers, the regulators are discussing how can we involve the new technology into our daily lives when it comes to unmanned and autonomous systems and robotics. And to help us understand how this works, I am delighted to have Dr. Gerhard Wissel, the chairman of the UAV, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, here with me in the studio. Dr. Wissel, welcome to Trade Talk today.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, and coming back again.
Yeah, thank you.
The first aspect that I quickly wanted to highlight is you got re-elected chairman again, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, for another 3 years. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Dr. Wissel, we're going to start with some rapid fire questions just to kind of get the energy up and just need to choose between one or two, which is your preferred option. Okay. So here we go. Morning espresso or long breakfast?
Morning espresso. Window
seat or aisle seat?
Aisle seat.
Is there a reason for the aisle seat?
Yeah, it's because of my hair, you know. It's better for me here.
Okay, very good. Small startup drone or a large industrial drone? What do you prefer?
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult, but the large industrial drones, of course, we are representing them, but the startup drones are important just for the industry as well. So
very good. Paper notebook or digital notes?
Definitely both.
Both, okay. Yeah. Early adopter or your cautious upgrader?
Early adopter.
Early adopter. City skyline or mountain landscape when you go on holiday?
City.
City skyline. Email or phone call? What sort of person?
Phone call.
Phone call.
Yeah.
Very good. Indoor drone demo or outdoor flight show? What do you prefer?
Outdoor flight show.
Outdoor flight show.
BV loss.
Yes. When we're talking about missions, fixed route missions or fully flexible missions?
Fully flexible, of course.
And if you had a superpower, would the superpower be about to see the future or to pause time? What will your superpower be?
Can I have both?
Yeah. I think both might be necessary, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, is it? Thank you. I think that's it for us to come and get started. Dr. Wissel, you have been re-elected as chairman of the board. Maybe paint us a picture of what the main challenges are that we currently have in EU, and how does the exponential, at least this year's exponential, work as a catalyst to address these challenges?
So, of course, the first challenge is regulations. It's still regulation.
Okay.
So where we have to work, especially BVLOS flights in control zones, multi-drone operations, etc. So, and we have the European Drone Forum, so the leading platform for regulation conference here in Europe, together with the Exponential. So this is one part of the Exponential, and this is where we are discussing all these topics with the industry and also with the regulators, with national regulators, and with the EU. Okay. So next one is the acceptance, of course, public acceptance, all the discussion with drones when you look at Ukraine. Absolutely. And military things and also the private drones. I come from the north. If the people are flying over the beach, so nobody wants them. Yeah. So we have also a negative impact on our industry. So we have to convince the industry what the opportunities are. Then there are definitely opportunities, right. And that we're safe because we come from aviation. So. And this is something what we can show here. So the Exponential can show what we can do and how safe we are operating in the commercial environment. And on the third one is mass production scaling. So we are still on a prototyping air model building. Maybe you remember last year we discussed the same. So, but we're now coming more in maturity to say, okay, we think about mass production. We need about economies of scale. We need about professional supply chain management, etc. And this is something where you need the whole ecosystem.
Right.
And that if you combine this with the resilience in Europe, so that we need technology in Europe, we need high-tech built in Europe, so that we are not so depending from others, especially from Asia, from China. So, and this is something what we can show here at the Exponential. So the Exponential can work on all of these three aspects in total.
Very good. As a chairman of the UAV DACH, you've already been a mouthpiece to Berlin and to the EU to reduce bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Can you give us maybe 2 or 3 practical steps, mandates that we need in order to, I don't know, be more competitive perhaps?
Yeah, interesting is that when we started with the US regulations, okay, Europe were first, so, and then came the US, and the US were looking to us and say, okay, what we did with use-based, what we did with other regulations. Today it's vice versa. Okay, we are lagging behind, and we can just say on the national side, for example, it's this so-called 21H of Luftverkehrsordnung, so is where we have so many geographical areas, yeah, where it's not really allowed to fly it, or we need a special permission, etc. And this only to get a permission to fly it, or to get, so let's say a certificate, okay. So it's from the operator, from the company, a huge amount of work, yeah, and also to check this from the authorities. So this is what we can completely reduce, okay, and this is what we're working on. The European side, especially, is look what our demonstration flights, live demos.
Yes,
you cannot imagine. It took 3 months with a lot of authorities, ministries here in North Rhine-Westphalia and in the Bundesministerium, etc. It is just only this case shows, yeah, how complicated we are, and that we do not really have a straight process on how we can do these flights and can bring the efforts with us.
I'm with you. Talk to me quickly about, if you're looking at near-term growth, where can we actually get near-term growth for unmanned system? Is it civil? Is it kind of the dual use, or is it defense?
That's an interesting question, because you're right, it's both. Why?
Okay.
Look, if I have a very good business case, okay, I want to deliver Mozart Kugeln in Düsseldorf to every household. What I'm doing, I build my own drone.
Correct.
This is stupid. So what does it mean? We need platforms. Where the drone is flying is just where you can differentiate them with payload, ranges, etc. But then I can take this platform and say, okay, now it's for civil use, or it's for military use, it's a delivery system, it's an inspection system, etc. That means we need standards.
Right.
Why I'm saying this is, we need the militaries, but also the civil side can use these platforms. Look like LKWs, like the trucks.
Like trucks, yeah.
I can put on a truck a rocket ramp, medical, fire, transportation. Yeah, right. Chocolate transportation container, whatsoever.
Exactly.
This is the platform, and then I can build for every solution the applications. And this is something what we need, and that means the growth will be triggered on both sides, because the military, if we grow on the civil side, we will grow as well on the defense side.
Okay, yeah, makes total sense. My last question, you have been re-elected as a chairman, which means obviously a big confidence, big trust in you as a person. What do you see your role being for the next 3 years with regards to how you want to use the UAV?
I think my role, together with my colleagues, okay, we have to raise every time the voice, and we have to every time what I said here, to say, okay, let's work on these, let's make it simple, yeah, let's take it as it is, to work together with the media, yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of, let's say, not only mistrust but also a misunderstanding and misknowledge of what this industry can do and what we can achieve, and so working on the regulatory side with. It's very complex. We're in Europe. We have the member states. Then what comes our member state here in Germany. So then we have the federal states. This is highly complex. So you have to be on every side every day, and just talk to them and just to convince them to say, okay, what we can do to make Europe leading in this business or not falling behind.
All right. Thank you. I think that's an important aspect to kind of keep that flag high with regards to what we need to do to remain competitive.
Exactly.
Dr. Gerhard, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you again next year for our next.
I think so.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And so that you don't miss the opening, we actually went around with our camera teams just to kind of get some impressions on the halls with regards to what did opening look like. Let's have a look. As you can see, the rooms were filled to the brim, and there's no better way to start off the exponential like this. And with me is our next guest, the International Director of Sales, Peter Lietz of Hirth Engines. Peter, welcome.
Well, big pleasure last year, and I hope also this year.
It will be. It will be. Peter, as you know, we're going to start the interview with some rapid fire questions just to kind of see, to get the energy up and for people to get to know the character behind the persona of Peter. Peter, in the morning, is it a morning espresso or long breakfast? What do you prefer?
Espresso with a long breakfast.
Very, very, very good. Window seat or aisle seat?
Aisle seat.
Small startup drone or a large industrial drone?
We make big engines only.
So it has to be large, right? Always, yeah. When you make notes, paper notebook or digital notes?
Both in the meantime, especially when I'm traveling digital one, which makes it easier.
Yeah.
And my handwriting is easier to convert any little digital.
That makes two of us. Are you an early adopter or a cautious upgrader?
Earlier.
Early adopter, okay. You take the risk, right?
Yep.
When on holiday, do you prefer city skyline or mountain landscape?
Best case both, but preferred city.
Preferred city. Are you an email person or a phone call person?
First phone and then email to confirm them.
That's the way it's done. Do you prefer an indoor drone demo or an outdoor flight show?
Outdoor flight show. The sun is shining. It's much more fun.
Very good. You prefer fixed route missions or fully flexible missions?
It should be flexible.
If you had a superpower, would you prefer to see the future or pause time?
The future always.
Always the future. Okay. Or you could pause time to rectify things.
The future you can form in. The future need to be formed.
Yeah, very good. Peter, you were here last year. If you just look at the development of Hirth designs and Hirth engines per se, how have today's missions and endurance influenced those designs?
Design-wise, we start to optimize production processes to make it more smoother, more quicker, more customer-related, and quicker for the customer. And what we also adapted on the supply chain side to be more focused on European production, because this demand was rising in the last couple of months tremendously to have local producers and local customers as well.
What are the biggest real-world benefits in hybrid propulsion right now, specifically with UAV applications?
It gives you more flexibility in design in regards of design of the systems, of payload and endurance for sure.
Okay. How are you dealing with the tougher supply chains, right, in the current, let's say, security climate that we have to a certain extent? And the type of regulations, how are you dealing with them when you're pushing for new engine technology?
I think we have to separate this. One thing is the supply chain side, which gives us the luck more or less that a lot of German automotive suppliers reduce their combustion engine systems and go to the electrical one, which means they gives free capacities for us combustion engine supplier for new options. And on the other hand, the regulation is for sure a tough point because the authorities gives us as a component supplier no direct guidelines. They're talking about use space and operator regulations and all the other things, but they're not discussing about the product itself. It should be a reliable one, but what means reliable? Yeah, it would be nice if the EASA would commit, you have to test them under certain regulation standards or a certain verification standard. This is not existing. In India, it's existing, for example.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. How does this affect the way that you're producing then?
We try to do our best to be close to the aviation standards,
right?
But there you have to find a kind of limbo because no customer is willing to pay for the aviation standards.
Okay, I'm with you.
They want to request the standards and the quality level levels like on aviation.
Right.
So we have to find a good balance to provide them good, adequate test results, adequate documentation. What we have done, we have prepared now all our documentation S1000D standard, which is a kind of aviation standard. So we are on the top of the class of engine manufacturers, which gives us benefits, and for the operators, a better guarantee when they apply for a permit to fly, which is currently necessary, to have good documentation for the authorities. This system is reliable and works properly.
Okay. I'm a little bit curious. You, in your role as Director of International Sales, is it easier to sell internationally, like countries like India, for example?
Frankly speaking, yes. Because there are less regulations a little bit.
Yeah.
The airspace is more open. The authorities are more flexible on this side. Either India, for example, looking to China.
Right.
Logistic transportation, but we are talking in Europe about U-space, is still existing in China. Logistic transportation over long distance flights.
Right.
So this need to be adapted on the European side, need to be integrated in the existing aviation industry and in the aviation traffic more or less. I think this will be a big challenge for the future.
Okay. And I think there we still need to do our homework now, so to say, no? Okay. Last question, Peter. What are you hoping to take away from the Exponential your time here? We heard that your booth is pretty busy, so you can't complain. But what are your personal expectations?
First of all, extending our network. I'm happy to see new customers, existing customers, also competitors here, which was not here last time. I was sad about that. Yeah. I informed them you missed a good opportunity. Now they're also here. Yeah? That's the reason why the show is increasing. And what I heard yesterday, the show will increase next year as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's a good path forward.
Good. I wish you all success. Thank you so much for being here, Peter. And hopefully we can do this again next year.
With pleasure.
Yeah. Very
Thanks.
Good. Thank you. Okay, so this will be it for our guests for today. But tomorrow, I would invite you all to go onto the Exponential website. It is exponential-europe.de. Have a look at the program. And one of the highlights for tomorrow is actually our keynote speaker, Michael Robbins. He was also here last year. He will be at the CCD South Room 1. And also, don't miss the teleoperation. The shuttles by Mira will actually help you to go around the trade fair. And there's a real support with regards to your transport. Mira is a subsidiary of Rheinmetall, and by all means, convince yourself with regards to how the controls center and the vehicles are a tangible solution for your transport. That is all for me to say. That is a wrap for Trade Talk today. Tomorrow, I'm excited to have Christian Bock, the Head of Innovation Center at our German Bundeswehr, as well as April Kom, the Senior Product Manager of Tradeswehr. Thank you so much for listening. Take care and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
This show was brought to you by
Hirth Engines.